Hello, everybody. My name is Mike Yablonowitz, and I am the president and CEO of BBC Global Services. BBC Global is a managed outsourced staffing firm with offices in the Philippines, India, as well as Scotch Plains, New Jersey. Today, we're diving into the crucial topic of team performance. This is not only pivotal when partnering with an outsourcing firm to augment your staff, but also ensures that your internal team operates optimally right from the start. This approach minimizes confusion and maximizes productivity straight out of the gate. While this doesn't eliminate all questions in the beginning, clearly identifying performance metrics and establishing a thorough understanding of responsibilities, including knowing who to turn to for help, is essential to getting this moved correctly. It ensures that not everyone knows how to do their job, but also understands the benchmarks for success today and what it takes to stand out for future promotions and advancements for the staff. Unfortunately, many overlook this due diligence when building teams and integrating new members, which can lead to confusion and overall suboptimal results. At BBC Global, we've nurtured exceptional employees and delivered outstanding client service because we recognize the value of this upfront due diligence. Simply put, whether you bring people on internally or use a managed service company like BBC or both, it's imperative that it's set up correctly. Remember the old adage, proper planning prevents poor performance? It's the case all around. You have to set yourself up for success from the beginning. And you know what? It takes a little bit of time. But that time that you give in the beginning will save you a whole bunch of headaches at the end, whether it's internal or it's outsourced with a management firm like us. So without further ado, let me turn the reins over to Nathan Bush. Nathan is our head of growth at BBC Global, and he will do this insightful discussion. You'll also hear from a new client of BBC about his experiences and why he actually chose to go with BBC Global. Nathan, the floor is yours.
What's up, Mike?
How you doing, buddy?
Good. I'm super pumped to be doing this webinar with you. We've got an amazing guest to showcase some of the service that we provide for clients. And this is going to be just one of those opportunity times that if you're running a clinic and you're really trying to figure out ways to grow the clinic, to augment some resources, to keep staff from burning out, you're going to want to tune into the entire show. Stay all the way till the end. We're going to give you tools, techniques, tips, just different things that you can do to help evaluate teams' performance so that you don't burn people out, but they can be even more productive. So with that said, I've got some incredible stuff to share, Mike, and I'll bring you back up in just a little bit. Thanks for the introduction.
Thank you.
All right, guys. So welcome again to the BBC Global Services webinar. We are talking about evaluating team performance, and let me help you out by understanding what I'm talking about when I mean team. Many of you guys have seen this movie, The Avengers. I love this movie. This movie is near and dear to my heart, and it speaks volumes to me. It showcases for me that when you partner with the right people and get your own healthcare version of the Avengers, together you can fight against inefficiencies, missed deadlines, challenges of damaging healthcare environments. And just like the Avengers, we're stronger together. I don't know if you remember this quote or not, but you remember Nick Fury in the movie The Avengers? He says this. He says there was an idea to bring together a group of remarkable people to see if they could become something more, to see if they could work together when we needed them to fight the battles we never could. Nick Fury said that about the Avengers, and I'm saying that about BBC Global Services for you. Now, I don't know how much I can align us with superheroes even more, but one superhero is joined our testimonial team, and that superhero here is Josh Sesser. Josh is first of all, he's a brand new client. Number two, he's the Associate Vice President of Business Management of Swim USA. It's an 88-year-old clothing manufacturing business, and they've previously never attempted to outsource before in the past, They wanted to, but they never did. And so I'd like to introduce Josh. Josh, hi, and welcome to the BBC Global Services webinar. Thanks for agreeing to do this for us.
My pleasure. How are you, Nathan?
I am super stoked, and I'm extremely excited that you're here today. You're one of those superheroes in the industry. You've done a lot of stuff over your career, and you joined Swim USA a number of years ago, and you guys have always thought about outsourcing in the past. Will you share a little bit about your background and your journey to get to outsourcing?
Yeah, absolutely. It's no surprise that challenges have been growing and pressure on getting sharper and sharper on costs and trying to streamline and be more efficient. But with that has always come the challenge of having kind of trust and, faith in a process that could move away from right under your nose. And that was always kind of risky and scary for us to move that away. So, we decided in an attempt to try and be more efficient and streamline things and improve costing for ultimately our clients, it was time to give another look at outsourcing. So we began our search and, met with a few folks and ultimately with Mike Ibanowitz and BBC. And, in working with him, we really learned that, there's a process in place to really help feel comfortable onboarding. And by that, what I mean is I was worried if you hire somebody who's out of sight, potentially out of mind, how do you know what's happening? How can you feel comfortable that all the requirements will get done accurately on time and so forth? And through discussing with Mike, there was a whole series of stuff that I hadn't heard from anyone else that we talked to about kind of a reporting system in which things will be monitored, scorecards will be kept. I'll have a good understanding of like if that workload is meeting expectations and how we're moving along, and really having like a checkpoint all along the way. We can edit, adjust, make pivots as needed to make sure that I'm getting what I need and ultimately my clients are getting what they need. So we're just in the early phases here, getting underway, but are super excited that the comfort level is there, that it feels like an extension of our team as opposed to a outsider.
And Josh, that's really, when we talk to healthcare clinics across the United States, they might be thinking to themselves, why did you bring on a clothing manufacturer to talk directly to us about outsourcing? Well, for one, it's to demonstrate the flexibility and the variety of the organization, right? Because we have different team members that are successful on our team that can help in a variety of different situations. And one of those situations is recruiting to specific needs. And so just because you're a healthcare organization, though, doesn't mean that you don't have similar challenges to clothing manufacturers. And I'm going to demonstrate that on today's show. Josh, why in the past do you think that your team was resistant to bringing on labor from outside of the United States? I mean, they're an 88-year-old company, so I could understand having some reservations if the way they've always done things has always worked for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, while the manufacturing has largely moved overseas, there still was very much a desire to keep kind of the strategic sales entity close to us. And that still is the plan. And, in conversations with BBC, we really, learned and discussed more about how this is going to open up more time for the strategic analytical part and how we can help get support on. There is a grind of kind of information sharing, data pulling, and so forth that we can free up our people to spend time doing the best part of their job and analyzing, and have the trust and comfort now in BBC that, there's enough checks and balances in place. While this person will be physically removed from our building, we still feel very much in touch and in tune and have the ability to work with them and really, best of all, still kind of treat them like a team member of ours and grow with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Hang on there one second, Josh. We'll be right back with you. But I want to pop in here and just have a direct conversation with you guys that are watching online. If you're watching online, I know you've had some reservations as well about outsourcing or utilizing staff that's outside of the country. I can talk all to the HIPAA compliance and rules and regulations, but we did entire webinars about that. What I want you to take away from what Josh is talking about right now is the importance of understanding the structure of evaluating the team's performance. You're going to take away some things from this webinar that I'm going to share with you that will help you evaluate your current team's performance. But I want you to also listen to what Josh was saying about the importance of the ability to knowing that he can evaluate the team's performance when they're overseas and out of the country. I think it's critical and imperative whenever you're looking at outsourcing anything within your organization. If people are going to be working from home, if you're going to be dealing with remote workers, how do you evaluate and manage their performance? Those are all things that you're going to learn about on today's show. But let me bring Josh back up here because I got one more question for Josh. Josh, again, I want to thank you for being brave enough to start with our organization. You guys haven't even really gotten into the whole swinging process. You literally just signed up with our organization, but found benefit in the process you went through. I'd like you to take a second and just share with the audience and evaluate our performance. How was that onboarding experience been so far? Just give us feedback on what you liked and some things that maybe you were like, I didn't expect that, but that's now a part of the process for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, from the get-go, it was such a comfortable experience. The idea, and I think that's the biggest hurdle to get over, the idea felt a little uncomfortable. Having somebody removed, potentially in another country, feels like you can talk yourself into 100 reasons not to do it. But in working with BBC, who kind of worked closely with us every step of the way, understanding what our needs are first, then kind of customizing a plan that would work for us. And, things that preconceived notions that I had of like, well, oh my goodness, how will I ever get the information from us over to the new team member? That seems like such a nightmare between time, potential language barriers, so on and so forth. The hand holding and the customization of a training program and package that would work for our new team member, and the way that BBC is going to help facilitate that for us was, for me, probably between that and kind of the ability to track the performance throughout were the close the deal for us, and understanding that this was customized for our needs and that we'll have transparency throughout the process, really taking away some of the trepidations that we may have had before engaging in the past.
That's incredible. Thank you, Josh, very much for your time today. I appreciate you joining in and being brave enough to jump in. I know Josh has got some stuff to do. Josh, I'd love to circle back with you after the show, though, and just make sure you understand how appreciative we are that you took the time to do this.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Awesome. All right, guys. So you heard it directly from a brand new client that just onboarded with our organization, that the evaluation of the performance was the most critical piece for this particular client. And I want to ask this question of everybody out there. Have you ever experienced frustration of missed opportunities in your practice due to being bogged down with administrative tasks? Don't lie to me. Has it ever happened to you? And how valuable would it be to reclaim some lost time and revenue by partnering with professionals who can streamline your operations? This is critical. You don't want to be in a position where you don't have the resources you need in order to be able to achieve the goals that you have inside your organization. And so these resources are important. Now, you also talk about evaluating business. And in the process of evaluating, you got to pay attention to the numbers. I know you're a physician, you're a physical therapist, you're a chiropractor, you're a dentist. You don't have time to look over all your numbers. But I'm telling you right now, I actually have an MBA with an emphasis in accounting. And it is not my favorite thing to do to enter invoices and receipts. However, it is my favorite thing to do to be able to track the revenue, where the revenue is coming from. And I learned this a long time ago, and I wanted to talk about this aspect of numbers in business and evaluating team performance. Do you guys know what the worst number in business is? Yeah, it's up on the screen. It's not 0. It's 1. Think about it from this perspective. What if you had one source of income or only one patient? Or how about the prospect of only having one advertising source or one referral source that's providing all of your leads to you? What happens when that source goes away? Well, if that's the worst in revenue generation, the number 1, it's also the worst in employee numbers. And here's what I mean by that. Can you imagine having only one receptionist or one bookkeeper or one of anything in your business? And then what happens whenever they get sick? Or they can't answer the phone for the day, or your business picks up and you got overflow and they can't handle it all by themselves? That's what today's show is all about. It's evaluating not just our performance and how we evaluate our teams, but how do you evaluate your own team's performance? What numbers are you looking at? What metrics drive your business? And I'm here to tell you right now, if you only have one of anything in your business, let's say you only have one stethoscope or you only have one knee machine, guys, when that thing goes down, what do? The worst number you can have inside your clinic is 1. In evaluating anybody on their performance, the worst number you could give them is 1. If you're scoring people on a scale of 1 to 5, you don't want to have people who are scoring 1s inside your business. So what are you going to do to manage by the numbers but not kill morale? Well, we're going to share that with you. One of our clinics that we work with, physical therapy clinics, is Impact Physical Therapy. And I'm going to share with you in just a second their metric dashboard that we put together for them to help them evaluate their business. But here's what Mark Plonner had to say about our organization. He said specifically his VA, his virtual assistant, Wormley, our healthcare virtual assistant, is able to work independently and rarely has to contact us with questions. He has helped us achieve our vision for providing high quality, unrushed care while growing our practice. Wormley is not able to do this without having evaluated performance, guys. And here's how we evaluate Wormley's performance. Look at the sample report. The sample report shows you a number of different things, and this isn't the whole report. This is a partial of the report, but it shows a number of different KPIs that it's important to Impact PT. Maybe they're important to you as well. You could look at some of these numbers and go, yeah, I'd love to know how many tasks are being completed by my staff. I'd love to know how many documents are being scanned. In fact, I'd love to know how many calls are being made, how many patients' appointments are being scheduled. I'd love to know that on a daily basis. How is the performance of your current team? Do you measure them at this level? BBC Global Services has the capacity, the ability, and the capability to put these things in place to help you scale and grow your practice. Okay, so we were talking to a clothing manufacturer earlier, but you say, my business is different. Look, if you think your business is different, this is a trap. Everybody has the same excuse for being able to the same excuse for not being able to manage properly for profit. And the sooner you get over the limiting, erroneous belief that your business is different, that your practice is different, somehow, some way, the reason you're not successful is because you're different, maybe you'll be able to then begin to borrow from some of the outside world and use information that can help support your business. I know this concept of HIPAA-compliant virtual assistants is new to your industry. I know it because we were the first company to join the APTA from a virtual assistant practice that actually is placing virtual assistants with hundreds of physical therapy practices across the United States. I know your business is different. There's 2 types of people, those who make excuses for why they're not growing and those who make money. You get a choice when you're in the healthcare industry. And I know, and I can say this because I helped healthcare clinics. I helped an organization. We sold hearing aids, and I helped it grow from over 2 million to over 20 million in revenue. And we did that in under 4 years. And we could have either made excuses for why we couldn't grow, or we can make money, but you can't do both. You cannot have a culture of missed deadlines, unkept promises, lost patients, missed revenue, waste, inefficiencies. These things don't work to grow business. So what do you do about it? That's the real question. How do you solve a culture of missed deadlines, unkept promises? Is it just kind of lackadaisical in your office? Is it just kind of anybody can do, come and go as they please? Maybe they show up to work sometimes, maybe they don't. Maybe you're having trouble staffing the front desk and it feels like a revolving door. This comes down to an evaluation problem. An evaluation problem. And one of the benefits of working with a team like BBC Global Services is we can help with that evaluation issue. Here's what Dr. Troy had to say. He's an ophthalmologist, and he runs his own practice, and he had this to say: in navigating the complex and evolving landscape of healthcare, integrated a virtual assistant from BBC Global Services into our clinic, and it has been transformative. As a clinic owner, my priority is balancing growth with maintaining quality patient care. With rising costs, decreasing reimbursements, and the challenging of hiring skilled help, BBC Global provided a solution that aligns perfectly with our needs, our virtual assistant. Angelo has become a Swiss Army knife, adaptable, hardworking, integral part of our team. Whether he's the front and center as our receptionist or he's in the background managing administrative tasks, Angelo, his contribution is invaluable. He's not just a supportive team for our operations. He's enhancing patient engagement and contributing to seamless, efficient, and human-centered healthcare experience. Interesting. We're not just talking about evaluating teams' performance so that we can have be a boss that stands over people and uses numbers to hurt people. No, we're talking about utilizing numbers to efficiently coach and manage people so that you can scale your operation, so that team members are encouraged, not demotivated. He says this partnership has allowed us to address the critical challenges head on, ensuring we can continue to provide exceptional care while navigating the pressures and growth and operational efficiencies. The professional and personalized approach of BBC Global Services has made all the difference, offering not just a service, but a partnership that supports our mission and values. Guys, that's what's critical in evaluating your team's performance. Do they support your mission and values to help you achieve the goals that you want to do? In order to do that, you got to control your business, not people. This is a big distinction that we make in evaluating teams' performance. And if you want to have a better system for controlling your business, I highly encourage you to pay attention to this section. Most people don't have faith in themselves. Most people don't have faith, don't have someone that has faith in them. So most people don't have faith in themselves, and most people don't have someone who has faith in them. Most people can tell when someone has faith in them. And so most people will do anything to live up to your faith in them. I highly encourage you to begin to learn to trust your people and put processes and systems in place that help ensure those people can be productive. Most of the time, the reason we find that team members become unproductive is they don't know the system, meaning they haven't been trained on it, or number two, they don't know your goals. And it's important that you're constantly communicating these visions to your teams. One doctor that we work with, Dr. Agarwal, she did an entire interview with us as well, and you can go back and watch that interview. But in that interview, you'll find that she said this: partnering with BBC Global Services has been a transformative experience in our clinic. Notice that word transformative again. Both people said the same thing. Initially overwhelmed by administrative tasks, facing challenges, and maintaining efficient patient care, BBC Global offered us a solution that's not just met, but exceeds our expectations. The HIPAA-compliant staffing support didn't only alleviate our administrative burdens, but significantly improved our patient engagement and satisfaction. Our virtual assistant seamlessly integrated into our team. They worked within their company culture. Our virtual assistant seamlessly integrated into our team and has been instrumental in enhancing our daily workflow, ensuring no patient calls are missed, evaluating the overall patient experience. This partnership has allowed us to focus more on patient care while expanding our practice confidently. This partnership, guys, working in a way that helps support these organizations by helping them structure the systems that we can evaluate the performance from a remote perspective, has significantly transformed their business. But that's not all. So when you're controlling your business and not people, a system increases your faith in people. And identifying and documenting that system helps you have faith in them. Believe in them before they succeed. Focus on their strengths. Build on past successes. These are important keys to your system of developing faith in other people. Again, believe in them before they succeed. Focus on their strengths. Do you write down every one of your team members' strengths and focus on those areas? Do you build on their past successes? Do you take time to evaluate what they've done in the past and sing their praises for what they've done in the past so they know what you're edifying so that you can continue to build faith and trust in them. Help others overcome defeat, instill confidence when they fail. Guys, people are people. They're not robots. They're not machines. And even I've watched AI fail. I uploaded, because I'm not too ashamed to admit, the other day I didn't know the answer to my daughter's homework. I took a picture of it, uploaded it to AI. AI told me she got the answer correct. She went into school and the answer was wrong. Look, even machines fail. People are going to fail. Here's the difference. You help them overcome defeat and instill confidence when they fail. You re-educate so that they understand what you're wanting done. Now, one of the key and core components that you heard from Joshua earlier is you got to start off right. They got to experience some wins early on together with you. One of the systems they have in place is to visualize future success with your team and expect a new level of living with them. What do I mean by expect a new level of living? Talk about where they can go in your organization. Talk about where they can grow in your organization. Help them see the future for themselves by doing better. John Maxwell has this to say in the book, Becoming a Person of Influence: to help other people believe they can achieve victory, put them in a position to experience small successes. We highly encourage people whenever they're first starting off with outsourcing to pick 1 or 2 tasks to train people on, maybe 3. Get them used to functioning within those things that you want done, and then expand your circle. Those 1 or 2 tasks, celebrate people who are achieving those goals. Make sure that they thoroughly understand how successful they are at the things that you've trained them on and asked them to do. Reward them for being in that small success early on and encourage them to keep on the process. Again, when you're controlling your business in life and not people, there's a couple of things that you can do in order to make sure you're controlling your business. Number 1, focus on better job descriptions. At BBC Global Services, when you sit down with a team member from us, we're going to help you focus on this job description to get it more accurate, to get it more crystal clear about who we're specifically looking for. Even if it's international, it's so critical that we look at these job descriptions and determine what is the specific role. Next, you've got to create your system. You've got to create a system when you create a system when you document or put in writing something that needs to be done inside your business. So are you creating systems in your business on a regular basis? Are you documenting these things? Are you putting them in writing? You got to take time to actually write out step by step, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. That's the cool thing about BBC Global Services. We can help document some of these systems. So we have trainings that are documented for how you do business. You create effective business management systems when you have everything you do documented. See, few people have systems for managing their business or their people. Even fewer have such systems tuned in to maximize productivity and profitability. What you'll find with BBC Global Services is the way that we begin from the very beginning to identify the key performance indicators that drive the results for the role. When we document those things so we can create your daily report, it helps you tune in on productivity and profitability. And so you're documenting your systems within your business, and at the same time, we're documenting those systems in such a way that we're ensuring that we're moving you towards profitability. See, all employees should be trained to create profitability within your business. Whether that's freeing up your time or making you more money, every single person, every single resource that you hire in your business should fulfill a system that's productive for your business. If you don't know what I'm talking about, or all this seems a little too complicated for you, let me simplify this. Get out a sheet of paper and make a checklist of the things that need to be done for a specific task. When you answer the phone, what are the steps to answering the phone? Just make a checklist. That will start the process for what we'll even begin to evaluate. See, Carl Kolbeck, founder of Rose City Physical Therapy, had this to say after working with us for a period of time. After experiencing the labor shortages post-pandemic, it was clear that we needed a sustainable solution for our front desk operations at Rose City Physical Therapy. That's when we turned to BBC Global Services. Their commitment to understanding our specific needs, coupled with the exceptional service, set them apart right away from the start. They weren't just providing us with a virtual assistant. Guys, this is key. They sought someone who fit our culture and job description perfectly. Remember how important I told you it was to define the clear job description up front? Our virtual receptionist, Jiwa, has not only become a seamless extension of our team, but also a favorite among our patients. Engaging, helpful, and part of our community, Jiwa embodies our core value of being genuinely useful. It's more than just fulfilling a role. It's about enriching our team and enhancing patient care. BBC Global Services didn't just provide a solution, they transformed how we operate, making it possible to continue delivering high-quality patient care without compromising our values and patient experience. Guys, we don't just help businesses change so that they can be more profitable and better. You've heard now from 3 different physical therapists how we transformed their business. And this isn't me talking to them and just writing out something nice and sending it over to them and having them sign off to say, yeah, we can use that. These are their own words from interviews we've done on previous webinars. It's so critical that you understand this whole concept of how to control your business and your life, not people. See, you don't have systems documented. If you don't have systems documented, one of the best ways to start is to create a checklist for somebody else. Understanding which tasks you can create these checklists for is to understand the job description you need to create. So understanding which tasks can create these checklists for is to understand the job description you need to create. Start with the tasks that you need people to do. At BBC Global Services, I'm going to bring Mike Yablonowitz back up in just a second, but I want to plug just a quick commercial for how we do business differently. What is transforming these organizations? It's these 6 things. Number 1, we recruit the team member. Number 2, we manage their work. Number 3, we track their time. Number 4, we report their productivity. Number 5, we accept your vision and allow you to lead that team member as part of your team and culture. And number 6, we train for HIPAA compliance and we maintain HIPAA compliance on our end. In fact, Digital Compliance, one of the premier consulting agencies for HIPAA compliance in the entire United States, they recognized us and championed us as their number 1 best example of HIPAA compliance, hands down. And that was on a previous webinar that we've done. All right, so let me bring Mike back up. Mike, here we go. There you are. What's up, man? Thanks for taking the time to let me explain to everybody kind of what we do and how we do it differently. But I would like you to share with everybody, specifically within our business, what are some things that we do to evaluate team performance? I know if you want to get your life back and enhance quality and profitability, what are some things that business owners need to do, Mike?
Yeah. Thanks, Nathan. You made a lot of good points in that. And all those are extremely valuable. But I think the biggest thing to say is it really isn't hard. It's not rocket science. It just takes time and diligence. I said that in the intro. I'm saying it now. This isn't just about BBC Global. This is about what you can do internally with your existing staff and when you bring on new staff. I just knew that when I created BBC Global and I was going after this market segment, I forgot about this part because a lot of people don't even understand what the best way is to bring on somebody and manage them and ensure that they do what it is that needs to be done on a regular basis. So I knew if I was going to do something different rather than just, provide an outsourced staff member, throw them in their house and hope for the best, I was going to have to show these people, help these people do these steps in order to create the best scenario at the end of the day, right? Because not only does it help them out, but it helps us out. So the reason why we have all of these clients that are happy is not because of me. It's because of the process. Because at the end of the day, all anybody wants is productivity, and that the people that are working for them, albeit if they work with us or another managed service company, they're happy as well, because that translates into the performance they're going to do for their clinic or company. So like I said, it's not rocket science, but like what you mentioned, there's a lot of steps that we do in the beginning before we even onboard somebody. But with all of this, what occurs is that in this case, in doctors and physicians, they really do get back a lot of the quality of life, because a lot of the patients that the clinic we serve are smaller clinics, a few doctors, a few staff, and a lot of times we learn that the doctor is busy doing a lot of the administrative work and not focusing on why him/her are there is for patient care, right? That's why they got into this in the first place. It wasn't to verify benefits, right? And unfortunately, forgetting about that in a second, is they're spending way too much time on that. So even if they have the right person in and they follow these steps, right, they're able to create all these things on a slide, right? They want to enhance the quality of life. They want to go to their kids' soccer games. They want to go to dinner with their wife. They want to, watch that movie that they've wanted to watch forever.
I mean, heck, Dr. Medtu said he couldn't even take a vacation.
Right.
And having the virtual assistant was able to help him and his staff be able to go on vacation.
So in that's what life's all about, Nathan, is trying to enjoy the parts of it, right? And if your main job is to perform surgery or something like that, you should not be spending time in these mundane tasks, right? So if you have the process in place, you'll be able to divorce yourself from that. And also, as much as, we're not always in this for the money, there's a run rate of life, right? And we all want to live a certain lifestyle. And if you're stuck doing all these other tasks, there's only 24 hours in the day, and you need at least a few hours to sleep. You want to focus on the business growth. But when we're talking about business growth, being able to see more patients, help more people, do more surgeries, which is why you went in this in the first place, right? And at the end of the day, the byproduct is you make more revenue, which makes potentially your life easier, and it's what you sign on for. And also, again, stress management. A lot of times, if you don't spend the time in the beginning doing this diligence, figuring out what it is you want the person to do, when you want them to come in, what their metrics are, what their KPIs are, there's so much stress that is on you as a business owner. I know from experience. And that is just you have someone maybe staring at you. You have someone doesn't know what to do. And that is really a huge part of not having proper planning. And then again, the last part about partnering with a HIPAA managed service. When you're in your office, right, it's HIPAA compliant. Hopefully you have all the safeguards in and all that sort of stuff. But, when you're looking to outsource something, which we didn't even talk about yet, you want to make sure that company has that same level of compliance as you would at your own office. So that is what the due diligence at the beginning, will give you as a business owner, as a clinic owner. But it takes time, right? And like I said in the beginning, it's not rocket science. It just takes proper planning. And what at BBC Global that we do, right, is we do that, like I said before, to make sure that you have an optimal experience. In addition, forgetting about that piece is another reason, and unfortunately it's a sad state of affairs, right? But a lot of the clients that we bring on now, the clinicians, they forget not having the right process in place. They can't find people, right? I mean, we're having a really difficult time in the world right now finding people to come to work. It's pathetic, but it's the truth. And, and it's not about money. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out this whole shift. But we have doctors who are saying, hey, I know what I want them to do, but I can't afford to bring somebody on, train them, and have them disappear in a week, or have them come in for a few hours here and a few hours there. It's more of a distraction. So that's when going to the outsourced staffing firm to not even just for everything, but to mitigate your loss, right? So
because business still has to go on.
Huge piece. So to get here, Nathan, right? You have to, like you said, you mentioned a lot of it, but you have to do certain things in order to be able to afford this lifestyle and get back your life, so to speak, to a certain extent. And yeah, sorry.
No, I was just saying, like, that everything you're saying is so true. And that's all the precursor to the evaluation piece. We've got one slide, guys. That's the next slide we're about to go to, where we're going to talk about what we do to evaluate team performance. One slide out of all these slides. My dad told me a long time ago, how you do anything is how you do everything. And if you do the right work up front that we were talking about, you go into it with the right mindset. You understand why you're outsourcing what you're outsourcing. You understand that it's going to take time and diligence to set a proper process up in front. You understand that you need to dig in and understand some numbers and some KPIs and those performance indicators. And you understand that we have to have a system in place that the person is going to be working. Then we can put proper evaluation pieces in place. But if we don't take the time to slow down up front, then we have to slow down later on in our business when things aren't working. Measure twice, cut once. Isn't that the advice, Mike?
Yes, that is the advice. And it's the only way that I can run this. It's the only way I can run this business, Nathan, because, the one thing is that when you mention all the bad things, but if you're in your own company, within your four walls, right, as much as you shouldn't be doing that, you could run out and tap Sally on the shoulder, be like, Sally, you're doing the wrong thing, right? Like, she's like, okay, maybe she'll figure it out. But again, when you're outsourcing certain processes, it's even more important that you're buttoned up, right? So we do it this way, which we feel like everybody should do it, even in their own company, because we know we have a responsibility to manage your company, right? So it's not an option for me to because I'm not you, right? So I got to make sure I learn from you what you need and make sure it's all set up correctly from the beginning. And that is why, we spend a ton of time making sure we have everything done up front in order to make sure we get everything in the beginning. So again, like I said, it's not rocket science, but it's really what Josh was saying when he was talking. It's like we identified like the tasks that they needed and understanding. We called it a statement of work, right? Whenever we bring anybody on, we have them, we fill it out. What are the things that you need accomplished? And there's certain questions that I'm asking in order to elicit the right response, right? To help us. And within that, we get what you're looking for. Now, again, like Nathan said, you may not know what you need, right? You may not know it, but it's our job to ask certain questions in order to get something that's measurable. Okay. And that is, you're gonna laugh, but it's sometimes we would grab phone records from clients. So you know what? You don't know how many calls. Send me the phone records. We break it down. We find out how many calls come in, what the average handle time of the call is. When we need to staff people, we put it together for you, right? So, or like, for example, I don't know. We want you to do confirmations. Okay. Oh, I don't know how. We don't have to figure out. Okay. Send me ECW, send me your EMRs. Let me look into it, and we will go and we will create a schedule there as part of our due diligence. Because as much as people are like, I can't believe you're doing all this work. We do that work because we know that if we do that work up front with our clients, they'll be successful, right? They'll be happy and we'll be happy because we won't have to deal with all of the, this isn't working. So it works for everybody. So as you always brought up the identifying metrics and KPIs, it's important. Like I said before, you have to have something that's measurable. You have to, period. If you don't have anything that's measurable, then there's no way to hold anybody accountable. Or,
Mike, I want to jump in there and ask a question because a lot of people around this whole concept of metrics get real nervous. Like that you're going to push people too hard or that you're gonna make them do more work than what they possibly can get done in a day. Like there's a sense of trepidation that people have about kind of that oppressive leadership mentality. Can you speak real briefly to the difference between understanding your metrics and that oppressive nature over somebody else when you have the metrics?
So I'll say it's the opposite. So when you're like a company like ours or someone that knows what's possible, not what you want, right? What metrics do is they align expectations and it stops the burnout. What I mean by that is that you know what a person can be able to do in a day, right, Nathan? If we have proper metrics, we can know, okay, it looks like they're getting too busy. They're getting too busy. Hey, Dr. Bob, looking at this report, and we'll get to that in a second, looks like we may need a little more help in the practice. If you don't do that, Nathan, then all of a sudden, the worker is stressed out. I don't care if they're in the office. I don't care if they're in our office, and they quit. Remember, a lot of people are quitting too because they feel either that they're worked too hard or they're underappreciated.
Or they're quiet quitting. I mean, that's a big terminology that's going on today too, where they were being productive before, but because you don't have metrics and you don't understand what somebody's capabilities are, now you're going in and you're trying to make them do even more stuff and they legitimately can't get it done. And so they feel like you're being oppressive. And instead of quitting on you, they just keep taking a paycheck until you don't fire them. And then there's this whole quiet firing battle that's going on where the owner just stops talking to the person. And so they're just on payroll costing you money and nobody's addressing the issue.
Right. But you see, the thing is with that too, and that is a real problem. And this is going to sound a little bit awful, but if you're a target, and you're doing quiet quitting, it's a little different than if you're failing to verify benefits and the practice and getting paid, right? Like it's not even an option in this market. So you have to have metrics or KPIs so you can just identify it's like a handshake with everybody, including you're having the agent buy into this as well, right? It's not a surprise. They're buying in too. So, and again, the trepidations about expectations is also something where, like, a lot of times they're not 100% sure. Like, we'll help them guide because there are a bunch of things that every clinic needs. But it's also okay to recommit, right? And what I mean by that is as we're going through things, we could say, well, you know what? Maybe we should do X, Y, and Z. Or maybe that happens too. Like, and that's part of like the training phase and all that sort of stuff. Recommitment. We're the professionals, right? In managed services, right? We're supposed to help the clients. Okay? And that's kind of what we do. And again, that's a big thing with the metrics and KPIs. They should not be scary. They should be embraced because they hold everybody accountable nicely. The other part, if I go into, is the training piece. That is something that I would say we have a world-class training part of our company. When you get the SOW, you identify everything you need to do, identify key metrics, then we have to train the staff. Okay. And a lot of times sometimes the doctors or the front desk people want to train the staff, and that's fine. Right. And that's what we do. However, we learn what it is that they need to do as well. Because at the end of the day, we have to consistently reinforce that, right? Because when the doctor's going through training or the front desk person, they may be going at their own pace, right? And that's okay. But we have to take that pace and make it work for us and their staff. Remember, we're managing that staff. So as much as they'll go through everything with us, we then have to document it. We then have to document it in a way that we'll understand it. And then we have to train that staff as well to make sure they understand everything. Huge piece of the puzzle.
And a lot of times, going through training, Mike, what are some things that we do to evaluate the fit for the role, that we know that person is catching it and getting on and learning the information?
Well, I mean, again, we provide after each piece, we give an assessment. It's very simple. It's very simple. If we're saying that, like, if we're going through an EMR and they say that they know it, they understand it, as we go through each piece of it, we'll still do spot checks. We'll still do spot checks of everything. And then at the end of the day, every single piece they're supposed to do, they have to get a certain score, or else they're just retrained. It's not like bully ball. It's just making sure that they can do the work. And that's extreme. That's training. That's the biggest part of it. All right. And then again, from there, you also have to have a triage point. Okay. At the organization. The first 2 weeks are the biggest weeks. Usually it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks, depending on, everything is different, right? But as much as we all understand what we're doing, we all understand the KPIs, we all understand what we're supposed to be doing, still, there are questions that occur, right? It's your own practice. You have little idiosyncrasies we may not know. So we need a person and a way to contact that person with any small questions and answers, right? And we can do it anyway. We could do it via text, via phone, via Teams, via Zoom, whatever works for you. And again, we have enough information at this point that it's not going to be a stop, but we need that triage person in order to get things answered that we may not necessarily know. Okay. And a big thing, and I didn't know how else to put this, but radical candor, right? We need to know what's happening. We are your partner. And we need to know what's working, what's not working. And it's funny, probably people think, what do you mean? If they stink, then they stink. I'll tell you, no. There's times, remember, Nathan, we had a cultural issue where the person was wonderful, but within this, I'm not going to get this real specific way, but within where the company was, the practice was located, the accent that person had was causing an issue for one reason or another. It just happened to be. So you have to tell us this, and we have to work with it. And some things just don't work, even though we go through the trainings. I mean, we go through the meet and greets. You meet the person. We're not going to go. That's a whole other thing. You meet the person. You choose it. At the end of the day, sometimes things don't fit. So we need to know that, because we need to work with you, because we need to. It's like stopping. It's like making things work in the beginning and stopping stuff cold before it festers. So we need radical candor. We do ask the first 30 days. We're always probing. Definitely always probing. Sending out notifications, because again, if sometimes a small practice where the doctor is very involved, they don't have time. So we'll hit them in any way that they can be hit, right? Whether it's sending out a notice saying, hey, give me some updates, calling, texting, whatever works. But that first 30 days is essential, because we need to know what you like and what you don't like. And there's no wrong answers, and there's no wrong things to say.
So basically, Mike, what you're talking about is the way that you can make team performance evaluation happen properly.
Mm-hmm.
You have your big six. First one was identifying and understanding what tasks need to be completed at all. They need to be defined. You need to work with somebody that's from a consultative perspective to pull these tasks together with you. The second is identifying the metrics. What is the performance expectation of those tasks being completed, so that we can have accountability and give proper feedback? The third thing that you do to evaluate performance is you need to catch the performance issue in the training aspect. And so even though you're going through training, making sure that you're assessing people and that they're not just appear to get it, but they're actually understanding what they're learning. Mm-hmm. The fourth thing that you talked about is proper reporting. So daily follow-up, daily understanding of the performance of the individual. Mm-hmm. Because just like a hockey player, their stats are scored at every game. Well, at work, every day is a game. And so you're in the game. And so you have to have proper reporting statistics on what's going on so you can measure those things.
And those reports, I can say, are sent to everyone at the end of the night. They're sent to your team leader. They're sent to customer success. They're sent to you, the client, and they're sent to me. So it's not to make it, it's just to make sure we're hitting the numbers. And if not, we got to hit it head on, right? Rather than wait until the client sees it. That's not powerful. So that's why the reporting is very important, is because it holds everything accountable at the end and it comes out every night.
For sure. Then we have to have a triage point where we can communicate back and forth, a point of contact in that evaluation. Whether you're talking about outsourcing or you're even talking about your own clinic, there's got to be someone in the organization that the person reports to that can get feedback and get information and questions answered when they have it. You can't evaluate somebody properly if they can't get an answer to a common question that they have. And then the last thing is radical candor. You actually have to provide feedback when things are not going the way you want them to go. It doesn't mean that it can't be course corrected or adjusted, but there's two different parts to life. There's care, and some people err too far on care, and some people err too far on candor. What we're talking about when we say radical candor is communicating with us, the leadership team, not maybe the employee. Maybe you don't want to give the feedback to the employee because you think it'll come across too harsh, but you're not caring about them if you don't give us the feedback about what's going on. And so that's why that radical candor is so important in evaluating teams' feedbacks. You have to have the number, the metric, you have to have quantitative data, and you got to have qualitative data, the feedback, the assessments, the conversation, the reports. And by doing so, guys, with Mike's Big Six, you can evaluate teams' performance almost effortlessly when it's set up properly. And so that's what we have to share with you today, and how important it is to evaluate your team. And then when they do well, just like when we do well, we like the recognition. And so we have a number of different organizations that have recognized our service and the things that we've done as an organization at BBC Global. We also, we go to trade shows. And so maybe you've seen us at a number of different trade shows, and we'd love to hear your feedback on our presentations, on our webinars. Provide us with some radical candor back as to what types of shows and information that you'd be looking for when you see us at the next APTA convention or Absorbs convention or wherever we're going. I know we're going to the hearing show and a number of different places that we go throughout all these different association meetings that we're a part of, because we're here to make an impact long-term in your community, guys. We're a part of this healthcare movement as we go forward. This is the way that all healthcare clinics are starting to streamline their processes and their systems and to get things under control so that they can continue to scale their operations. You can't do it without outsourcing. I'm going to challenge you to find a different way. You're not going to. This is the way that companies are changing for the future in order to help them be able to evaluate their teams, hit certain goals, move the company along, and do it in a cost-affordable way. And so, we heard from Planner, who was Christopher's partner, but we also did an entire webinar with Christopher Lang, who's one of the founders of Impact PT in New Jersey. And he said in the show, partnering with BBC Global Services has been a game changer for Impact PT. Opening a clinic during a pandemic presented a unique challenge, from financial constraints to managing an influx of administrative tasks. The introduction of HIPAA-compliant healthcare virtual assistants from BBC Global not only streamlined our operation, but also significantly enhanced our patient engagement and satisfaction. Our virtual assistant efficiently handles a wide variety of tasks, from patient onboarding, insurance verifications, to managing appointment schedules, allowing us to focus on providing personalized, unrushed care. This partnership has enabled us to grow our practice by 60 to 70% compared to the previous year, with plans to expand further. With the flexibility, efficiency, and reliability offered by BBC Global Services, they have allowed us to maintain our commitment to superior patient care while navigating the challenges of the growing practice. I cannot recommend their services enough. It's truly transformed how we operate and plan for the future. That was Chris Lang with Impact PT. So our team members, your team members, when you hire us, they have a number of different benefits. They have health insurance. They have 12 paid days off. They have 12 sick days off. You're wondering, well, if that's 24 days, who fills in? A lot of times we have backups depending on the program or plan that we have for you, of people that are trained and can fill in your practice so that you're not without or down on employees and staff members and resources. Then We also have a monthly allowance for travel, internet for our team members, interest-free loans, employee engagement activities, financial literacy classes, 13 months of pay, accent reduction programs that we provide them to continuously help facilitate improved English if there's a challenge or a need for that you're feeling on your side. Double pay on holidays, Christmas celebrated in a number of different countries. We have a shuttle service, even in Davao, that brings people to work. We have shift meals. I mean, the benefits for our team members go on, and the benefits for you go on and on again. There's no setup fees or long-term contracts with BBC Global. Staffing is in our offices, our HIPAA-compliant offices. We provide all of your team members a HIPAA-compliant certification that are on our staff. Employee placement guaranteed. There's no charge to find a new replacement. If for some reason somebody doesn't work out, there's no additional fees beyond the hourly rate with us. We have offices in India, Philippines, Mexico, Canada, and the U.S. However, the Philippines office is where we provide the HIPAA-compliant medical virtual assistance out of. BBC Global, we are staffing experts. I mean, there are recruiting firms in the United States that can help recruit in the United States. But if you're looking to source internationally, we are the experts at doing so. And we're have a U.S. leadership team and operations staff, which means that we have to be compliant to all of the HIPAA rules and regulations, just like anybody would that works and lives in the U.S. One of the problems that you'll run into that's a big differentiator between us and some other outsourcing organizations that you could even consider is that they have their operations and everything based in the Philippines, which means they don't have to follow U.S. HIPAA laws. And so that's a major differentiator is that our leadership team is based in the U.S. and our operations staff is all out of the U.S. And so we have to follow all the same laws, rules, and regulations that you do. We've been in business for over 22 years. BBC Global is you're provided an internal team manager, a team lead to work with your team member on the specific job. So you'll have somebody in addition to your team that understands and knows your business as well. We have assistance with documentation and recording for future references, which is really, really good when we do your onboarding. We have an integrated leadership model, meaning that you work directly with your staff member and you can give them direct feedback at any time. They attend all of your different company meetings and participate in your team as part of your team. I know one of the things that Rose City, Carl Kobeck said about his team member that he really, really loved about Jiwa was that even during Halloween, he dressed up, and when he was on camera with people as they were coming in, because he utilizes virtual Sally, which I highly encourage you to go check out that video also on our YouTube channel, but they utilize virtual Sally, which allows for remote facial expressions and interactions with the patients in the office. And Jiwa dressed up for Halloween, just like any member of the team. So when patients came in, they felt that same company culture, even though it was on a screen. And there's no shared services. You have dedicated team members that work specifically on your practice. We utilize your current systems. You don't need to change an EMR or a phone system or any of those things. You just continue your practice as normal. You add the team member and let us help you do so. And then we provide that daily reporting. So I'm going to take a second and open it up for questions. There should be a comment box wherever you're watching from. If you want to go ahead and start typing your comments in the comments section, I will go ahead and facilitate those questions, and Mike and I can see if we can answer those. So if you've been watching the entire time and you have a question, go ahead and throw that in the comment box. I will start off with this first question here that I see coming in. Mike, they say here, what is the average cost of a HIPAA-compliant virtual assistant? It seems like it'd be expensive.
It depends on what they're doing and the seniority, but on average, it's anywhere between $10 and $12 an hour, all in, including everything.
Wow.
That's what it is. Yeah.
That seems extremely affordable. I mean, I know that minimum wage in parts of California is $15 an hour. I know that, you can't get with all of the benefits and all the benefits that the staff gets. You can't get anybody in the United States for as affordable as what you can. And what is the quality is the next question. What is the quality of the team members that they're hiring? Are these they didn't graduate high school? Is this people with PhDs? What is the quality of the general candidate that they would be finding?
Well, they're all college educated. a lot of them are healthcare educated in one form or another, phlebotomists, just the way that it is in the Philippines. We always look to staff people that have prior experience with Western practices if we can. And we give, we give tests beforehand to make sure that they will be able to work within what the practice is looking for. But again, the biggest thing is that as much as we're not going to have you do a ton of interviews, we will bring 3 people that we think are the best to you to do a meet and greet. And you will choose who you want, at least for the first one. So we're kind of on the same page. And all that it is you will get the interview that we give to them. You'll have the resume, and you'll choose through the people, and then you'll meet who you want to. But that's a big thing. So they're educated, they have experience, and at the end of the day, you get to pick them in a way that does not impact your life or your schedule.
Wow. Mike, I didn't realize that we have actually been going 1 hour and 6 minutes today on this webinar. Yeah. I do want to take a second and make sure I thank Josh. Josh, thank you very much for participating in our show today. It's incredible to have somebody who's brand new that can give us feedback and evaluate our performance and our service with him, and said that we did an incredible job just in the onboarding and assuring them and providing trust that they could actually make this decision to utilize outsourced labor for administrative tasks and different things within their business. So that was fantastic to have Josh come in from Swim USA. Thank you very much for doing so. I also, Mike, as we close up today, is there any final words? If you guys still have questions, you're welcome to throw them in the chats. I will go back through all of the different social medias. I will make sure you get answers to your questions. And if not, I'll get you set up with somebody who can answer those questions. So if you want to throw those in the chat as we move forward, but I'll let Mike finish up and close out today, sharing his thoughts and wisdom about healthcare, HIPAA compliance, and what we're doing as we move forward.
Well, the whole thing about the evaluating team performance is, after, like I said before, and I hate saying that, but if you just go back and you follow those 6 key things that we do, you'll have a great success in your clinic. You'll have better performance. For the most part, you'll have people that may stay more, right? Because if they're feeling like they're valued, if they know what to be expected, then they're less likely to leave. And that's really it. There's no magic. We have a lot of good success. We have a lot of good clients. We have a lot of clients that think we're doing a great job. I mean, they're coming on our webinars to help us and help you know what the value is of outsourced staffing. It's managed outsourced staffing. And it's not like, again, it's just about following a play. You know, as a former athlete, not that good, but I thought I was good. You know, this whole business has to be based on following a play. If you follow the play, you'll get success. If you deviate and, you know, you're going on one way and someone else is going another way, you're not going to win. So if you just follow a process, you use those 6 things, 6 pillars, create it for yourself, you'll have success just like we do. It's just when people wing it is when they don't have success. So demystifying it all. Pick a process, follow it, you'll have success also. And also, and again, Nathan, you didn't say, feel free to reach out to me. You know, it doesn't cost anything to have a conversation. And I promise I won't be selling you. Because seriously, we are here to educate and help. And by helping people, may not be a client for us, but next time you're talking to their doctor and they need somebody, you'll say, hey, Mike knows what he's doing and he can help. Nathan, that's all I got.
Well, that's it, guys. Hope you guys have a good afternoon. Thanks till next time. Keep us up, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you share us on Facebook and Twitter and all the rest of the social media platforms. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you, Nathan.